10 minutes. That is all the time a dying snow leopard cub had left before hypothermia claimed her tiny body forever. At 14,000 feet in the Himalayan mountains of Nepal, where the air is so thin it burns your lungs and temperatures plunge to 30 degrees below zero, a small creature lay motionless in the snow. Her smoky grey fur, usually thick and protective, was matted with ice. Her pale blue eyes, barely open, stared at nothing. Each breath came slower than the last. Shallow, fading. Her mother had been gone for 3 days now, taken by poachers who left the cub behind to die alone in the frozen wilderness. She had stopped crying hours ago. She had stopped shivering minutes ago. And any wildlife expert would tell you that when a hypothermic animal stops shivering, death is moments away. But this cub did not know she was about to become part of one of the most extraordinary stories ever witnessed in these ancient mountains. If stories like this touch your heart the way they touch mine, I invite you to subscribe to Eternal Bonds. Every new subscriber helps us share more of these incredible moments that remind us why connection between species matters. Join our family and let us journey together through the bonds that make life beautiful. Mei Lin Chen had not climbed this mountain to save anyone. She had climbed it to say goodbye. 2 years earlier, her husband David had died on this exact peak during a research expedition. David Chen had been the world's leading expert on snow leopards, dedicating 30 years of his life to protecting these elusive ghosts of the mountains. He had taught Mei Lin everything she knew about them, the way they moved like smoke through the rocks, the way a mother would carry her cubs by the scruff with impossible gentleness. Now at 58 years old, Mei Lin carried something far heavier than grief. She carried his ashes in a small urn pressed against her chest, determined to scatter them at his favorite observation point, the place where he had first seen a wild snow leopard 40 years ago. The wind howled as she approached the rocky outcrop. Her joints ached, her heart ached more. She whispered his name into the frozen air, preparing herself for the final goodbye she had postponed for 2 years. And then she heard it, a sound so faint it could have been the wind, a whimper, a cry that was almost nothing at all. Mei Lin froze. In 30 years of accompanying David on expeditions, she had learned to recognize that sound. It was the distress call of a cub, a baby calling for a mother who would never come. She found the cub wedged between 2 rocks, a tiny bundle of grey and white fur that barely moved when she approached. The cub's eyes flickered toward her, too weak to show fear, too close to death to care that a human was reaching for her. Mei Lin's hands trembled as she touched the frozen fur. The cub's body temperature had dropped dangerously low. Her gums were pale. Her heartbeat was barely detectable. 10 minutes, maybe less. What Mei Lin did next would have seemed insane to anyone watching. She unzipped her thermal jacket, pressed the dying cub against her bare chest, and zipped the jacket back up, skin to fur, heartbeat to heartbeat. The same technique David had taught her decades ago for saving hypothermic animals. The same technique she had seen him use to save a snow leopard cub in Mongolia in 1992. The cold hit her like a knife. The cub's frozen body against her skin sent shockwaves of pain through her chest, but Mei Lin did not move. She sat in the snow, wrapped her arms around the small bulge in her jacket, and began to rock slowly back and forth. She talked to the cub. She told her about David, about how he would have given anything to save her, about how he had spent his life believing that every single snow leopard mattered because there were so few left, about how finding this cub in this exact place on this exact day felt like something more than coincidence. Minutes passed. The cub did not move. Mei Lin felt tears freezing on her cheeks. She had climbed this mountain to scatter ashes, to close a chapter, to finally let go. Now she was holding a dying creature against her heart, pouring the last of her warmth into a battle she was probably going to lose. And then she felt it, a tiny movement against her chest, a small paw pressing into her skin. The cub was shivering again. Shivering meant her body was fighting. Shivering meant life. For 3 hours, Mei Lin did not move from that spot. She fed the cub small drops of emergency glucose from her pack, warming each drop in her mouth first. She massaged the tiny legs to restore circulation. She whispered encouragement in Mandarin and English, in words and in sounds that needed no language at all. When the cub finally opened her eyes fully and looked up at Mei Lin, something passed between them that defied scientific explanation: recognition, gratitude, trust. The cub pressed her small head against Mei Lin's chest and let out a soft, purring sound, a sound that healthy snow leopard cubs make when they feel safe. Mei Lin named her Shu, the Mandarin word for snow. The journey down the mountain took 8 hours. Mei Lin carried Shui inside her jacket the entire way, stopping every 30 minutes to check her breathing, to offer more glucose, to make sure the tiny heart was still beating. At the research station at base camp, the veterinarians were stunned. The cub should not have survived. Her core temperature had dropped to levels that were almost always fatal. But here she was, alert and hungry, crying for milk with a voice that grew stronger by the hour. What no one expected was what happened in the weeks that followed. Shui refused to leave Mei Lin's side. When researchers tried to take over her care, the cub would cry until Mei Lin returned. She slept curled against Mei Lin's neck. She followed her around the station like a shadow made of smoke and fur. And Mei Lin, who had climbed that mountain to end a chapter of her life, found that a new chapter had begun without her permission. She never scattered David's ashes that day. She realized, sitting in that research station with a snow leopard cub purring in her lap, that David had not sent her up that mountain to say goodbye. He had sent her up that mountain to find Shui. 5 months later, Mei Lin made the hardest decision of her life. Zhue was healthy now, strong and wild, ready to return to the mountains where she belonged. The day of the release, Mei Lin carried her to a protected territory where other snow leopards had been spotted. She set Shui down on a rocky ledge. The young leopard looked back at her, those pale blue eyes holding something that looked remarkably like love. Then she turned and bounded up the rocks, disappearing into the landscape like a ghost returning home. Mei Lin visits that territory every spring, and every spring she sees a beautiful female snow leopard watching her from the cliffs above, never approaching but never leaving until Mei Lin does. Some say it is coincidence. Some say it is impossible for a wild animal to remember a human after so long. But Mei Lin knows the truth. Love does not end with death. It does not end with release. It transforms into something that echoes across mountains and years, connecting souls in ways that science cannot measure, but hearts understand perfectly. What do you think? Can the bond between a human and a wild animal survive distance and time? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you, please share it with someone who needs to believe in miracles today. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for being part of this journey with us. Until next time, remember that the most powerful force in nature is not survival, it is love.